Next full build right here. Just kidding. Only half a build because I'm only using the frame and a couple other small parts off this one for our 94. I need to grab the chain off of this right now because I just got the 94 painted and I need to pull it out of the paint booth. But this one here, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna cut it about right there. And we're gonna use this frame rail and the low leaf suspension on our 94P because it has regular air leaf suspension. I need it to sit lower, and this has a much cleaner frame than the other truck. So we're gonna be using this frame, and I'm gonna take the air tanks off and a couple other small parts off to use on the truck. Pretty much strip this thing down and use all the parts that I can, and yeah, go from there. So we could get what I came out here to get. I'm gonna grab this chain. Let's get my truck pulled out of the shop. So obviously you guys have already seen the bunk. That's been painted for quite a while because it's one of our own projects, and as you know, if it's our own project, it's gonna take forever. We just don't make time for anything, or I don't at least. But here's the truck. I already saw the hood painted, but did you see the cab painted? Yep, cab painted. And here's what's going on right now. I'm gonna cut this frame somewhere about right in there where it's gonna be hidden underneath the bunk and get rid of all of this. And we're gonna just go ahead and throw that new frame on up in here. It sits at, I think it's at like 310 right now, the wheelbase. Not too sure, but with a 36-inch bunk, I think that's gonna look too long. I know some of you guys are gonna disagree, you know, 300-inch wheelbase or better, you gotta do that for everything. But with a 36-inch bunk, I'm just trying to look proportionate. Like I'm thinking like 275, 280, something like that. It's kind of like a cab over. Whenever you guys do a COE, a cab over, and you do a 300-inch wheelbase on a cab over, I think it looks stupid. It's too long, it's too long. We're gonna try and make this look proportionate. Right now, the air is out of the system, and look how high this frame is. This is ridiculous. So that ain't gonna work. That's another reason we need the low leaf on it, because we want this truck sitting on the ground. So let's go ahead and throw this chain around this frame. Normally I would just drive the truck around, but the other day I sold the fuel tanks off of it before I had new fuel tanks to put on this, so I have no fuel tanks on it. Can't drive the truck. I could put a 5-gallon bucket of fuel on, yes, but I don't feel like it. We're just gonna put air to the system and push it out of the booth. So enough lollygagging. All right, I'll give you guys a break from the cheesy YouTube music for a minute. I'm gonna get my table in view here, hold on. Okay. I'm gonna get these air cleaners mounted up. And then I think the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go and cut and buff this paint job out. This was clear coated with high solids clear, and I did 3 full coats. So that way I can get it thick enough that I can get rid of the hard edge on the stripe. So if it looks a little orange peelish, we're gonna fix that, don't worry. Whenever I put new breathers on or do a paint job at all, I always put new nut inserts in, and I use stainless ones because there's no reason to reuse your old ones ever. Like, my gosh, unless it's a brand new truck, obviously, but the amount of trouble I've had with inserts, it's ridiculous. Man, this time of year is always so busy for us. I don't even know why I'm trying to get this truck done for a show. My uncle at Horse and Buggy Accessories, they always put a show on. This year it's May 2nd, and it is April 14th right now. So I'm trying to get this thing put together in time for that show, so I can show this truck off that we've been working on for a while. But I don't know if it's gonna happen because everybody wants their stuff worked on last minute. How's this box open? Everybody always waits for 2 weeks before the truck show and then calls me and says, hey, I just have a couple small things. Just a couple small things. I smashed my middle finger the other day. I think it's broken, so I keep fumbling around with things like putting those windows in. Normally I can just whoop, right around with the rubber and everything, but I have no strength in my right hand. I can't feel much. Very, very annoying. I did too good of a job at cleaning the rubber. Now it's sticky. What do you guys think of that? I'm gonna throw the straps on, and then we're gonna get into mounting the cab lights. They're not mounted yet, so let me throw those straps on and we'll move up to the roof. Welcome back for another rendition of Happy Light Hour with Josh. Today we have my controlled mess. I already put these lights together here. You guys watch me put too many lights together, but I figured I'd show you one more time on how I put these ones together, because if I don't, somebody's gonna ask. But these are just the JML bases. They don't have a ground on it, so I make my own ground and put it on. Just self-tap it through the back. That little self-tapper screw going through it ain't gonna ever affect the way your light shines. And there are guys that'll install these without doing a ground, and it'll magically ground through your chrome. It actually can ground through your chrome plating a little bit, but the problem is there's a gasket here, so this doesn't get bolted directly to anything metal. Even if it did, there's paint and all kinds of other stuff. So what it does, it's actually grounding through your screw that goes down to your cab. And if you have a fiberglass cab, then it really doesn't work, and everybody's like, well, how do I get these lights to work? Well, not like that, okay? Put a little ground strap on it, like this, and you'll be good as well. So let's go, I dropped my bulb. Let's go ahead and get this one together. We're gonna have to test this one now that I dropped it, make sure it's not a little messed up. But go ahead, put some dielectrical grease on your bulbs every time. The amount of glass lens lights that I fix that are just corrosion problems because nobody greases anything, it's ridiculous. Anyhow, where was I? Kind of ranting right now. We're really just trying to get these together because I got to get these lights on this roof. I mean, I only got realistically 2 work weeks left before we want this truck done, and we'll do a walk around here in a second and I'll show you what is not done so far. Pretty crazy, to be honest. So don't fingerprint the inside of the lens up, all right? Something we're trying not to do. So there's the ring, a seal, the glass, another seal. Then you stick this through here, like so. Then you have to buy a separate gasket. They don't sell this with these kits. I just put these on because you have to if you want to seal up proper, okay? Just follow along. So here's another seal. That'll fit in there nicely, like that. Then you need this gasket right here. And this is if you want to use a Graycon base, which is what I like using. If I can use a Graycon base, if I can convince the customer to spend the money on Graycon bases, or if I have some takeoffs here, even if they're used, I'll always prefer going with the Graycon base, really over any other base. I think it's Grand General. They make the one that's like a metal housing. I'm okay with that one. That one's okay. All right, we gotta feed the wires through. Yeah, and the fact that people don't ever do proper grounds, like it's very rare that I find other guys doing proper grounds on their glass lens lights. That's why you get lights that flicker. That's why you get lights that are slightly a different color tone. Oh my goodness, I forgot to run those through. Hold on. You guys got me all messed up here now. Anyways, that's how you end up with different color tone lights, blinky lights, some that don't work, some that do, or they'll be dim. You gotta have proper ground. The majority of light wiring problems is always in the ground. Yeah, it's kind of it's a lot. It's a lot getting all these seals stacked correctly that you're not pinching any of them. You just can't get in a rush, can't get frustrated. That's why it's LED light happy hour or whatever I said. I'm gonna get this all stuck down in there. The next hard job here is getting these whole screws lined up. Oh, that one's right. 2 for 2? No. Come on. I promise I'm a professional. There we go. Gonna loosen this one back up so we can get this all squared up. It's a little bit of a, it's definitely a process putting these lights together. So I didn't want to film them all for you guys because that would be like torture. Not just for you, but for me. All right, should we check if this light works? If it doesn't, we're just gonna have to take the whole thing back apart. Now, when you test them with like a Milwaukee battery, don't leave them on for a long period of time. You will end up blowing these bulbs. Okay, but it's okay to just check them quickly, you know? Just a little test. Boom. Oh, it's gonna be pretty. You know what? Let's do a little test. Let's see if this one would ground out if there was, this is gonna be even better grounding situation than anything that would ever happen with, let me see, hold on. Okay, like I was explaining, we're just gonna do this like that. If you didn't have this ground on here, and you were just hooking this bulb up with your hot wire, your chances of it grounding through the cab or through your screw are very slim, but let's see if it'll ground out just by directly going to the chrome. It does, see? Look at that, wow. People want to argue with me about that. It will, okay? Because this is a chrome plate. It's like a metal plating on it. But there's a foam gasket that goes in there. There's screws. If you have a fiberglass roof, it's not going to work. So a lot of guys have problems with this. Just run a ground shot. I'm rambling too long. Got the holes drilled. Now we're going to go ahead and put inserts in. All right, the lights are mounted on the top. Now, we did end up going with glass lens. They're the smoked lenses. And these obviously are not, so I'm gonna have to replace those with some glass ones. I think the next thing we're gonna move to is the mirror brackets, which we'll be using these 12 gauge mirror brackets right here, door mount. I could have swapped it over to the 389 style mount and I could have filled all those holes, but I'd rather keep the old school look. All right, and the mirrors are almost on, almost mounted. The cab lights are on, but not plugged in. I gotta do the wiring on the inside yet, but I think I like how all this is turning out. Really liking it. I really got to cut and buff this out. Look at that. So the way I like to do this, there's three, you could say 3.5 coats of clear in this section, which ends up, when you build clear on top of clear, ends up making it look a little distorted. But today's plan, get this whole truck cut and buffed, and what else? I guess keep putting things back on the truck. I don't know. What do you guys think of it so far? I think it's looking pretty sweet. You guys thought I was joking when I said cut and buff. And taking that built up edge of clear coat off the stripe before I even wet sand or anything. Because I'm not going to do much wet sanding, just a little bit. But I'm going to take that built up edge. If you made it this far into the video, now you're going to see some of my insider secrets here. Do with this as you will. There's easier ways of doing this that you don't have to do this. Like, I could have sanded it in between stages of clear coat, but if you're under a time crunch and you know that it's a paint job that you're going to want to cut and buff anyways, like wet sand it out and buff it out, this only adds like maybe, I don't know, to do all the stripe, maybe an hour. If I stop talking, I'll get it done a lot faster. You just go along and scrape this top half off. And as long as you don't accidentally go up or down or gouge in, you won't run into any problems. to take a break from polishing out this truck because I got a customer's truck in here, and let me go over what I did to this truck. Put a new grill in. This truck had a visor on. I think it was a roll-in visor, not positive, but they didn't like it. My wife said it looked like overplucked eyebrows. And then the windshields were also cracked, so we went right ahead, or I went right ahead and put bus glass in, which I think turned out really nice on this flat glass Kenworth. This is what it looks like on the inside. And then he had watermelon lights up here already, but they were plastic clear ones with blue lights in them, and he wanted purple glass lens in, so that's what I did. So yeah, I think it turned out pretty good. And obviously I turned the visor down quite a bit. And then today, I believe what I'm gonna get started on this truck is I have a set of aluminum air tanks. We pulled these ones off. I'm gonna go ahead and polish out the aluminum tanks and get them mounted up in. And then we have a new set of stainless battery boxes that I'm gonna throw on.